we're back, and I got another episode. I'm excited. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a great one. I got my friend, my guy, my brother from another, Daryl Mack Young. He goes, Matt, Coach Get Right. We will discuss in this podcast about his name and what it means in this time. Welcome to Spiritual Fitness Podcast, Mac. Glad to have you back. How are you today?
Man, I'm blessed, man, and honored to be here. Thank you for providing the space.
Yes,
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 brother.
yes. We appreciate your energy. We appreciate your intellect, your wisdom. But to people who don't know, I met Mac probably like maybe 4, 5, maybe 6 years ago in LA. I met him through a close friend of ours, mutual friend, Wade from the East Coast. They're from New York. So Matt has been in the fitness business for years, getting acquainted. He came to LA to get his feet wet. And then boom, a few years after that, he left and went to Tulum. So in today's episode, we will talk about fitness, Tulum, spirituality, and he has a big, big retreat coming up, you know,
Yes.
the Get Right Within, the Grow Retreat. And we'll talk a lot about that in this podcast. Before we get into the nit and gritty, like tell the audience, tell the listeners, tell the viewers, who is Mac Young? Who is Daryl? Because I don't know you as Daryl. I know you as Mac. Like, and where did you get Mac from? Like, out of all the names, like, were you a Mac back in the day? Like, how did you get your name? And like, who are you today in the flesh?
Well, great question. I mean, a lot of us don't know who we are. A lot of us don't know where we're from. There needs to be some kind of GPS in life. And I know, like, learning your name, you know who you are. You deepen your roots. You get closer to your ancestors. The names that we bear holds energy, right? So, like, my father, I'm named after him. And I always felt like his life was sacrificed for me to live further and farther time. That being said, it's interesting you say, are you a Mac? Because the story told is that, Pops would watch the movie, The Mac, back in the day. So, and he went as D-Mac. So I just dropped Daryl because there was a lot of skin shed. And now who I appear to be is Mac, excuse me. And where I'm at now in Mexico, everyone calls me Mac or Coach. Get right. And I'm going with that name for now because I feel like, again, there's layers of us and names that we possess that's not even ours. So, it's deeper connection with self. And yeah, on this journey, man, I just, when I hear that name, it don't resonate with who I am today.
Yeah,
You
you
know?
don't feel it no more. It's kind of dissipated and kind of like left you. You in a whole new
Yeah.
vibration. Yeah, so
Yeah.
talk about fitness, man, because I think, being on a spiritual fitness podcast, I always tell people you got to be fit within your spirit, right? We always look at the flesh, we look at the physicality of a person or what they look like or what they have, but we never really tap into the spirit. So how did the world of fitness and exercise and workout, coaching, how did that become a part of your paradigm where you took it to a whole nother level? Now you're in Tulum, helping people move their body to heal their body, but also helping men transform their life inside out. What part does fitness play in your life, and how did you get started in that realm?
Man, another great question. And bro, as I'm deepening my understanding and my purpose, man, I'm just like, what does fitness mean to me? Like, I think about myself. I was always active, physically fit somehow, somewhere. I grew up dancing. So the body was always moving, right? And I built this ego. Like where I'm from, the ego be heavy, man. And the ego, it could be good and bad because it shows you your potential. But if you let it get over your head, then it could take over. And I feel like it took completely over me. From athletics to being a bodybuilder, I was doing everything not for myself, but for other people.
Mm.
And getting closer to myself, I realized that before the physicality comes, we need to arrive in our mind.
Yeah.
We need to arrive in our emotional muscles, and we need to arrive in our spiritual muscle. Physicality is actually last on the list.
Yeah.
So as I'm maturing, I'm seeing it, and I still see it today when I walk into commercial gyms. Men are in there with the ego. Men are in there covering things. Men are in there hurting themselves. So it's like, if you respect yourself and respect the wisdom of your body and actually knew yourself, then you would ask the intelligence of the body, like, hey, what do we need right now? Because a lot of men in there doing arms and they got back problems. A lot of men in there doing arms and they cores off. And it's like, you work in the mirror muscles for what? For everybody else to look good in that t-shirt?
Yeah.
So, to answer your question, I literally, man, it's just been something that was taught to me. Like my granddad was into fitness and I remember him waking me up early mornings to get active. So I've always been an active person, but I'm really seeing the benefits of it, the clarity in the mind and the detoxification from sweating, all the endorphins. Like at this point in my life, it's no more athletics. It's no more bodybuilding. It's just being supple. And you have to be pain-free to let energy come in and out the vehicle, right? So like I was in pain, man, again, with that ego. So
Wow. It's interesting how the ego brings pain and the spirit allows you to be free. And what I'm hearing you saying is that most guys probably would say 85, 90% of the world of men in that realm, no knock to them. That's what the world has taught us. It's all about, vanity and not longevity. But I think what you're saying was you were body fit and now your spirit fit. Now your spirit is fit. And now you're taking your body, your diet, your life, your mind, your intellect, your soul to a new dimension where you can open up new portals, not only within yourself, but within others when they hold space in your presence. So why do you think, as men, we so fixated on like the physicality of what we look like and not what we feel like? Where does that come from? Like, I know the ego is there, but
mhm.
let's unpack the ego. What's inside the ego, you think, from your experiences? I mean, you've trained, celebrities to NBA players and professional athletes. What is it about the physicality of a man that makes him feel like I have to always own this center block of myself in order for people to walk into my building and give me the attention I want?
To that point, I think, since the beginning of time, man is seen as the protector, the provider. Again, it's so much surface stuff from the systemic buildup that we were indoctrinated in. And man feels like if you see another man that's buffed up and swole, you just correlate that to like, oh, he's strong.
Yeah.
But in all reality, inside the home of this man, he might be frail. He might be hollow. His core might be off. It's like, what are you hiding? And it's just like you see these artists or rappers or celebrities out with all these chains on. What you got all those chains on? What you hiding underneath? Why you got to have the Gucci and all of this? You down, proud of it? What you hiding?
Right.
So when you take the clothes off and you peel an onion bag on the individual, you like, okay, I get it. You got a lot of work to do, but you don't even realize that. So what you're gonna attract is also brokenness. So the man is broken, and all of that stuff is superficial, man. I realized like I dropped a lot of waste out of my life, and losing the waste, I literally lost weight. Like the
Yeah.
body holds trauma, the heart holds the most memory. So it's like when you tapping into these spaces, you don't have time to go lift some heavy weight at the gym, but you got some heavy weight traumatically that's stuck in your body that needs to leave energetically. My job as the messenger is to gently remind the celebrities that I've worked with just who they are and remembering the oneness of themselves and what you're really doing it for, because at any given time it can be taken away from you. So we just need to be grateful in these gentle vehicles, man, as the passengers.
Yeah, and I think, I've learned recently, I was never in the vessel of my body, but I was always in the vessel of my mind. So I was
Mm.
always here, but I wasn't here, right? So I wasn't feeling what I was seeing. I was always thinking about it, or at least trying to erase the feeling, trying to figure out a way, okay, how do I get past this feeling? Because I was so far removed from the spirit self, right? In those
Mm.
tough moments, uncomfortable moments, or moments of just patience of sitting still that I didn't realize I was running from my own home.
Stranger in your own home.
Strange in your own home. And I think most men, we don't know who we are because we're told we have to be something that we haven't even built to know at
Mm.
all. We've been told to provide, protect, lead, but what are we providing? What are we protecting? And what's the purpose and what's the intentions? It's like a
We
general like PSA. Men, you got to provide, you got to protect, you got to take care of the home. But for what reason? For what purpose?
wasn't even taught to love ourselves either.
There you go. And so then the vulnerability, the femininity of a human, especially of the man, we don't really maneuver in that space because it's unsafe to us. But when we maneuver in that spiritual space, that's so much safety actually give us more power in the masculine flesh space, right?
Yeah.
Because if we tap into the unseen in a more authentic, transparent way and do the work that needs to be done, the will on earth and the flesh will be done without so much effort and force and pain. Like you said, you had this body, you was a bodybuilder, you was dancing, look at me, I got it, but you were in pain.
Yeah.
The celebrities, the rappers, whoever, they got a bunch of chains on, like, great. Well, what are you hiding? And so even today to myself, I'm always asking, what am I hiding? What am I running from? So I'm so glad you said that.
We want to inspire people to question their reality, man.
Yeah, I like that.
That's all.
Inspire people to question their reality. Yeah.
Yeah, what are you getting out of this experience?
What's the whole
You're
purpose?
gonna forever be running this pattern because that's exactly these are the you may have had these patterns in the past life and it's not gonna go nowhere. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So I also know that leaving your environment has a lot to do with everything, bro. And where I'm at now is cohesive to where I need to be. Like the nervous system is regulated. I'm able to make conscious thoughts. I'm able to move slowly and feel, do less and feel, Mac. Like if I don't make it to the gym, I'm worried more about hydration. No man ain't worried about hydration. They just want to get in the gym again and again and again and again. It's the same thing for an alcoholic. They just drown in and numbing. They get in that gym and lose themselves, don't know how to deregulate their nervous system. Cortisol is spiked, and now they can't really get the gains or anything that they deserve.
Yeah. And I think what you're doing and what the work I've been watching you for years, putting in a lot of work. And I always say the hardest work we'll ever do in life is on ourselves. And you've been hydrating your spirit for the last 3 to 4 years. And now you at a space and a place where now you can hold space and provide the medicine that you became to help others evolve and get where they want to go. Let's talk about spirituality for you. Where did that start? And what was your turning point or your awakening that really like opened you up and opened up your heart to kind of see like, oh, wow, I'm seeing a different reality. I want to grow. I want to get right within. I want to get right. Like, where did that start and what was the turning point?
Man, that's another great question that leads me to think. I believe it's in us all, but personally, I've always heard some kind of message being sent. And most of the time, most of us don't answer it because the lifestyle, the drugs, the distractions. At a point in my life where I was living in Los Angeles, really broken, the world pandemic happened. And that was a time for most to soak in their own solitude, but it was scary for some people, right? And I felt as if it happened, like everything happens purposely. Everything happens like, I don't like to play the victim, so it's happening with and for me. So I just pivoted. I was able to like the first time listen to myself and trust myself. And then moving in that courageous energy, it brought wisdom. And I was able to hear my higher self speak, like the messages being sent through from my higher self, ancestors, and just guiding me. So the spiritual awakening, it was subtly happening in LA when I made a change in my lifestyle, what I was eating. And then it just amplified when I got to these indigenous grounds of Mexico. And I was, for the first time in my 35 years of existing here in this life, bro, I was able to look in the mirror and see someone that I love, respect, and honor. And I was just like, you are him. And this is what you are here for. So love on this guy. And I began to love on myself, soaking in my own solitude. I did 3 things every day for the mental, physical, and spiritual. I literally just did it for 30 days. 30 days turned to 60 days. 60 days turned to 90 days. And just getting in those repetitions, like you said, like hydrating the spirituality, giving life, activating the heart space. And here I am, man, spiritual being.
What were those 3 things that you kind of implemented to kind of like transcend to extend your life? Like, what was those 3 things that you did over and over that you can share with the people that they might can do in their moment of awakening or turning point in their spiritual nature?
The first thing is just the pause.
Okay.
Being in nature, oh man, let's talk about it. Nature is our greatest teacher. What I say now, and I laugh about it, I traded the concrete jungle, New York City, LA, for the jungle in the Caribbean of Mexico. First time I could wake up to birds and all kind of like animals, monkeys. I'm like, man, this is real life, like Jumanji. Like I don't hear sirens or people screaming at each other, honking horns. So pausing, feeling like scanning my body entirely, walking out to the sun every day. Just getting the sun every day is healing. Some people don't see the sun because they're behind the desk. They're maybe in their cubicles or just at home. Like, COVID did that. It kept people in the house and they just stood in the house. I was able to have the infinite measure of nature.
Yeah.
So I would say pause. I got the sun every day, man. And I did some kind of reading because that, reading helps you further your imagination. Reading expands your consciousness. So I was reading, but also the environment did a lot for me. And I'm grateful for that, man.
Yeah, I like that. That's well said because pausing is like how you really understand where you at. And
Right.
sometimes I gotta remind myself to pause.
Right.
Nature is such a beautiful testament of medicine and love and joy that it gives us, but we're not open to it, so we can't even receive what it's trying to give us in every moment. It could be the
Every moment.
moon, it could be the wind chill, it could be the grass on the ground, the leaves, and it's like we just walk by it like we walk by ourselves every day, right? We look past
Mm,
ourselves every day.
mm.
Reading, Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about. I've never heard the way you said. You should coin that. I don't know where you got that from, but reading expands your imagination. Dr. Joe Dispenza says knowledge is the precursor to experience. So the more you read, eventually you'll start having those experiences show up in your life.
Yeah.
For you, man, you've grown so much from being Daryl to Mac to now Coach Get Right. And now you all into like Tulum. So before we get into like the importance of like men healing themselves or working on themselves,
Mm.
what called you to go to Tulum of all places in the world and the universe? How did that even get acknowledged in a way where you say this is home now? Like, how did that even happen?
Man, we just gonna call it higher God self, man. First a friend was out here. Let's just say that. I'm gonna give credit. My friend was out here. He phoned me, and when he phoned me, it was FaceTime. And I said, "Bro, where are you?" Man, I'm in Mexico. I said, "Really? It looks really nice, man. Like I'm looking to get out of here. Wherever I'm at, I just gotta go. I know that looks better than this." So, being anywhere in the world, if you had to win COVID, it was in Mexico, Tulum.
Ah,
Um, yeah, man. And I was on the next thing smoking. I got on a flight. It was only two people on the flight.
no way. When was this?
This was May 2020.
Wow. So you was fresh in the pandemic going to Tulum. I thought it was like a year afterwards.
I was forecasting a storm and trusting myself. That's what I'm saying. Like a part of me was also fearful, right? Wearing this energy of my mom, because she's also a pessimistic, fearful woman, but also beautiful in many ways and robust in many ways. But I said, nah, this ain't my life is my own. I got to get moving. Like I done made enough mistakes. How could this be wrong also?
Right, right.
Got out here. There was no body in immigration, no offices, nothing. I walked straight through, bro.
Really?
Straight through.
Sound like a movie.
Nobody to check the passport, anything. I was like, whoa, this was like a Twilight Zone. I'm like,
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
what could be worse than where I'm from?
Mm.
What could be worse? I've already worsened and been traumatized and raised up in violence. And, like how? All right, world pandemic, okay. We're going to make a move. And this is a chess move. I get here, man, and the movie began. Something turned on, the switches turned on with the DNA. And I was like, okay, you know what you do as a profession, you can do it anywhere in the world, man. You know that you are in your heart space, and within your heart is home. So you can make anywhere in the world home, man. Set up shop. That goes for us. As
Yeah.
men, we can go anywhere in the world and activate, but you got to be on the ground. Some people are not in the ground. You got to get on the ground, to feel. And man, like I got here, bro, I was able to see the harmony of the indigenous people here in Mexico for the first time. I seen people living on the land, living amongst the land, taking care of the land. And I was, oh man, I've been bamboozled. I've been fooled. Like, they pulled the rug underneath.
Yeah.
But this is happening for so many like us. So I'm like, it's just not me. And not the greater cause is like when I started to deepen it, and I'm like, nah, we got to tell it. We got to get it. Like, listen, I got to put you on to what's really healing. Please, let me show you something. Because I'm from, the same place y'all from. So yeah, man, I got here, bro. And 4 years later, here I am.
And yeah, that's a great story because I didn't know that. I didn't know that backdrop. I know you went, I just didn't know what time. But I want to talk about the healing journey for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is that? What does that look like? If we put it on a visual, table for people listening and watching. Because, when I think of healing, I'm thinking of like, people going to therapy.
Yeah.
I think it's called EMT, people doing tapping, people writing letters and letting them on fire, doing forgiveness techniques, reading books, trying to understand. Like, that's what I think healing is when I think about it. But in all actuality, what was healing like for you? as you embodied it when you were in Mexico when you got there.
Absolutely. I think that you are on the right track. I think that healing for us looks different, feels different, tastes different, smells different. So I can tell you what I thought healing was.
Yeah.
Healing to me was like happiness at a point. Man, as long as I'm happy, everything's gonna be okay. That's one emotion. But what happens when pain sits in, Mac? What happens when doubt, self-doubt creeps in? Like, how do you alchemize those emotions, right? And I was in pain here. Pain because at a point in my time, like I didn't know if anybody that I loved that was back home would be able to see me again.
Mm.
That's just how I'm thinking. I'm like, wow, like you stepped out, you're in a whole different country right now. Fast forward, I'm learning now that the human anatomy is comprised of 4 elements. The 4 elements happens to correspond with nature. I get here and immediately I'm able to ground, take my shoes off, walk on the sand, walk into the grass, walk into the jungle of Tulum. You have earth, fire, wind, and water. Every day is something new. It's a muscle that I'm exercising, but it's amplified because one, I'm by the equator. Here, there are always at least 4 or 5 different fruits and vegetables growing. That's when you know all living things need to grow. We as biology, we need to grow. So like getting here and going through those 4 elements every day and still practicing it every day has healed me. So I'll give you an example, man. I cry often. Water. I've been told to get in the water because the ocean is magical. It holds so much information. Mm-hmm. One of the exercises that I do is get in water, submerge myself. I turn one palm up, one palm down, and I speak to the universe and just consciously say, you know, I go through my words, right, my affirmations, but the gist of it is to let go of things that's not serving me, give it to Pachamama, Mother Earth, and receive the downloads that I need in this moment. And when I get it, I'll go underwater and then scream, ah, ah, and come out like rebirth, like, wow, that was it. You know? But to people where I'm from, they'll probably be like, all right, Mac, you out of your mind. You know what I mean? And they're suppressing that. So it's the ignorance. So that is healing to me. Being able to cry, get stronger, fortified your mind, fortified your body, stretch, breathe. How about that? You know, that's another thing that I'm learning at the age of 35. I was breathing from all up here. And now I'm learning to expansively breathe properly, to set my nervous system, to have it regulated, to make better decisions, to sleep better. We're all walking around in pain, inflicting pain on each other. So again, when we get into nature, it teaches us, you don't see nothing in nature, you don't see squirrels or birds with watches on, that's taking their time. They going with that circadian rhythm.
They one with the land, they one with the earth, Pachamama.
Yeah.
It's interesting how when you pull the curtain back and you really look at life from a nature standpoint, how simplified, how simple, and how effortless life is.
Yes.
Like the sun comes out, it goes down. The moon is there, then you got the next day, right? Leaves blow, the trees, whatever. Things, but it's so simple, but yet in our minds and our bodies, we make life so hard, you know, because we're not one with the earth. We're going against Pachamama because of whatever system that's been in place for years, I believe is dying down. And this is why thought leaders and light workers and healers and coaches and people that are living their truth in an authentic way are coming up on a rise. And for you, you're dedicating your time and your energy not only to your vessel and to your soul and to who you're becoming and what you are in this moment, but you want to plant those seeds in the minds of men who need the, who need the medicine, who need the method. What called your spirit to help men? What do you see in the ethos where you like, I gotta help men? Where did you get that? How did that start for you? Because that's very rich and very great. And I think men, we need more healing more than anything, right? Because we feel like, or we think we got it figured out because we got the material, but that material is so fragile when you ain't got the spiritual, and you ain't got the mental, and you ain't got the emotional, right?
So fragile.
Yeah.
I think we're putting up a front, and a lot of it is we were raised by broken men, so we didn't see men be men. You know what I mean? So now I could get emotional because I traumatically, I lost my dad at the age of 2, you know?
Right.
So like, that was a huge piece. And Man, I can feel his spirit. That's another thing. Like my spirit guides don't play around with me, but I honor them. So at the age of 2, I lost my dad, man, and I was looking for everything, and everything that I was looking for didn't have anything to give to me. So just emptiness. For me to trust in myself and have empathy and compassion for all the masculine energy that was around me. Still today, I speak to them and I forgive them. I forgive myself because I know it's work to do. And I know it hasn't been taught. Man realized that he is mind, but also the longest journey for man is from his mind to his heart. And I don't know anybody where I'm from that's activating that heart space. And it's sad to see because we're prisoners in our mind. We feed the subconscious that imprints the conscious. It's like a computer system, the software that hasn't been updated for so many decades. But the emotional intelligence shows me like, hey, now you are the teacher. We are the teachers, E. So I want to thank you for the work that you do as well, because we're in this together. It's a war for our thoughts. It's a war for what we eat, how we think. Everything. It's a lot against us. So realizing what we're up against, it's a different game. How you play it. It's not aggressiveness. It's also femininity, just reflecting on how can you take this machine apart. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you just sit back and do what nature does as a feminine component is provide seed creation, seed love, put those placements into people's lives and watch it blossom.
Biggest thing, I'm listening that's coming up is like body intelligence. Our body holds all the DNA, all the information from past lives, ancestors, and even information we need from this life. But we're so distorted and distracted and disconnected from the heart and from our mind that we don't even know what's in the body. We just know we put food in it and we go to sleep and we go to work and we pay bills and we move when we have to. But the body intelligence, how smart our bodies are to give us updates when we release trauma, when we release the energy, release the pain. And that's why, I want to give fitness the love it deserves, because movement is medicine, because it's been moving the energy around my entire life to open me up to receive the femininity of the universe, the spiritual realm, the unseen, to tap into the intuition, to have proper discernment. I think the biggest thing you've said, throughout this podcast, and I want most people listening, is that you said you made a decision because you trusted yourself. And if you didn't, you had to grow the trust. And I think most men, at least in our environment where we from, they trust themselves to a fault. You get them out of their comfort zone, there's no trust involved. It's a lot of fear, there's a lot of lack, there's a lot of limitations, there's a lot of control, right? It's the toxic masculine or the wounded feminine. For you, having this call to help men, what do you think we need the most in this moment right now as we speak, that we can benefit the most?
Support, number one.
Okay.
The minute you feel supported, then you can lean into that support. If the support is like solid, then the man can soften up, perhaps. The man can tell his truth. And with telling your truth, you acknowledge what your flaws are. I tell men all the time, I'm perfectly flawed, but I'm actively doing the work. So many men are flawed up and they think it's cool. And they just continue to build layers and layers of flaws. Yeah. Until they go to women and the women is their rehab, and then things are wrong. So we say no to that, because that's the boy in the man. There's a boy in every man. There's a mother wound and there's a child wound in every man. The things that we were brought up on is not correct. But the unlearning is where the intelligence is needed for the man. And he needs to realize, like, your future is built off of today. So just take the steps, because each step protects the next step. But just small steps, bro. Leaning in, having support, talking to your brothers, talking to men, not toxic men, because you're going to get toxic results and you think that's cool. No.
And you're going to get toxic perspective that seems like cool, that seems right in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
It's so good you say that, because now I understand what a man is, and it's more than what we can see. It's more about what we feel and what we know without logic. That's why the spiritual component is so important for a man. That's the femininity that is so untapped, because of the world has forced us to be this, I got it. I want to shoot the ball. I want to score the touchdown. I want to be the quarterback. She also got to be a receiver as well. Right? Got to receive the download. You got to receive the message. You got to receive the truth. You got to know when.
Got to receive the love. So many men don't know what it's like for a hug.
Yeah.
Or somebody to truly love them. I had to tell this to a young lady I was speaking to the other day, like, I didn't see no healthy relationship growing up. I was raised, we didn't even say I love you much. We didn't give hugs. So, like, this is me unlearning, and a woman that's in my life. And if I'm calling her, I call her flower, because I just don't go to the girlfriend term. I'm gonna call her a flower. But this flower is in my life because I see her as like, I'm watering her, I'm pollinating her as the bees would. But she has to be able to protect and support for me to feel safe. If you give me those, now I can tell you my story. And now this is his first time trying to love. This is his first time being emotional. So it's not going to be easy for him. But if you're patient, because I'm actively doing the work, as we said, you're going to see the turnover. But if the moment you make me feel like what I was raised around, I go back into my shell, and because I can do best by myself too. I tell women all the time, who you see today took a lot of work to be this man. I can continue to be him until universe presents to me what is needed. For those who are on this journey, it's just like a piece to the puzzle.
Yeah, and this thing, like you said, women and men, we want love, we want support, but we don't love and support ourselves or by ourselves, right? It's easy to support yourself when, everyone's around you and love yourself. Yeah, I love myself. But do you do that when you're at your worst, when you're at your lowest, when no one's around? You have no one to talk to. It's 3 a.m. You in tears. You're praying to God. You're trying to figure it out. Your family don't understand you. You barely don't understand you. You're tired of your mess and your madness. And that's why it's important, for you, what you're presenting to the men, especially with this retreat coming up, how you're going to hold space in such an authentic way for men to grow, to get right within, so they can be the man they need to be, not only for themselves, but for the universe that they serve. Because it's bigger than money, it's bigger than strength, it's bigger than power. It's really about love and grace, right?
Main ingredient.
Yeah, right. So let's talk about the retreat. When is it coming up, and how do we get involved? Give us a synopsis of the Get Right Within retreat, the Grow retreat.
Sure. So it is going to be 5 days, 4 nights. Like we said, all living things must grow and dead things don't. Don't be the walking dead. We're inviting men to come here at the Get Right Within retreat. The mission is to, I would say, provide like a transformative experience for the man that's coming here to Mexico, that fosters personal growth, holistic wellness. Obviously, he can connect to the elements of earth here. For the first time in his life, he will probably be able to silence noise, silence the chaos, come into clarity. I believe, at Grow, we believe in the power of nature, community, introspection to like healing and empowering individuals. So I feel like it's going to be a chance for the man to feel safe, to feel supported, to reconnect to true self, to heal, past wounds. This retreat will be in August. We're doing 2 sessions. The first session would be August 14th through the 19th. We got lovely guest speakers like yourself, David West as well, 2-time NBA champion. We need to learn. We need to just see, man. That's something that you asked me earlier. Was like, hey, why did you want to help men? Because I'm a man and I've seen so much brokenness. I don't know how to be a woman. I know how to tap into feminine energy. I don't know what it's like to be a woman, and much respect to them. But if you heal a man, you save a family with just one man, because the family is leaning on him as the protector. But if he's broken, and if he's not in formation, and his heart and his posture is not in good position, he can't do what he needs to do for the family. Because all he thinks is like financial. Or no, you got to be there to see what your kids is absorbing in school. You need to emotionally be there, but if that's so much for a man, he just doesn't, it goes over his head. He's like, it wasn't poured into my cup, so I'm not going. That's the kind of selfishness that we're dealing with today. So it's a repeated paradigm. But yeah, the man comes out here, we step into the elements. Day 1, he gets here. We go into grounding and reflection. Day 2, we will be going into detoxification. The 3rd day, we go into rebuilding the man. So we're bridging over. We're walking over the bridge from the boy to the man. And then day 4, day 5, we're going into integration and empowerment. Like, what it's like to be in divine masculinity. How can you use the power that was given to you to destroy, but you use that power to build up and fortify it and love properly? Like, we need to start doing things properly. because it's infectious. Other men are looking in. And it's interesting because like where we from, correct me if I'm wrong, we get the same thing. People are watching. People are watching constantly, but no one's saying, here's a helping hand, Mac. Here's a helping hand, Eric. That's because to me, it seems like it's a dis-ease, like it's a dis-ease in the body to not be able to use that throat chakra to communicate what you need. So I feel like if I gently remind a man, if he sees me living my life, telling my story, the doors is open. Welcome.
Yeah, and I think to feed off of that, they don't understand what they see because they never saw it. So now the more we become it, they must watch it. And so this is why these conversations are crucial, and the healing and the retreat, people need to be a part of. They need to tap into it. They need to be curious. Now, for people listening and watching, what is the prototype, or what is the demographic, or what type of men, or what type of men you want to call into this retreat in Tulum in August? You said August 15th to the 19th, right?
August 14th through the 19th. The second session will be the 22nd to the 26th.
Got it.
Private beach location here. The first location will be in the jungle. Beautiful, beautiful aesthetic. Again, we'll be able to connect, eat fresh fruit, do the work, fire ceremonies, cacao, the abundance. We're just going to say that. Yeah, and we're looking forward. We're looking forward to it. Like I'm good at what I can do, but again, my network, my team, my tribe, yourself, other men, healthy. Oh, man. This is what the world has been missing. So in these there's pockets, small pockets around the world that's doing this work, but I just knew what this place did for me, E, and I'm ecstatic to put the power back into people, power back into the man. Because he goes home leaving this place. There are 3 phases that he's going to go through. So pre-retreat, he's going to be doing work, and post-retreat, he will be integrated in a community. It's going to be like 12 months of just support. We're getting on Zoom calls and we're talking it out, because it's just not about the retreat. It's what you're doing before and what you're going to do after, right? The integration, integrating the shadow work, because the shadow creeps up. I had the shadow man pull up on me today, testing me to see what I was going to do.
Yeah. It's a beautiful journey and joy. I want to share something with you and the people listening and watching. And you don't know this, but the universe is such a beautiful, not only mirror, but testament and power within when we tap into the fitness of our spirit, and we tap in and we really like channel and we listen. So in March of this year, I had a Akashic record, right? But maybe that morning before I had a vision. I was in a deep meditation, and my spirit told me, I got to get to Tulum. This is my spirit telling me, right? Hear me out. But it said, I need to get to Tulum. I need to do a retreat, a men's retreat. Okay. Got it. All right. So I didn't think nothing of it, but my Akashic record, shouts out to Heather Ivany. She did my reading. That didn't come up, but afterwards she was tapping into my energy. She said, I just see you doing a retreat, bunch of men. And, I don't know if she said a bunch of men, but she was like, it's more like hippie, but corporate business meets the jungle or something like that. But wow. I got a nudge prior to that, and my spirit is so in resonant with Pachamama and Grandfather Universe that you don't even know this. As I did my cacao and Joshua Tree, as I went to Peru and did my plant medicine, 2-3 weeks after leaving Peru, a month, I get a call, E, from you. I want you to come to Tulum. I'm doing a man's retreat. So I can't make it up, but my spirit, I got the call in March that I need to be in Tulum. I need to be doing a man's retreat. In what capacity? I don't know, but always, like I tell you, and so tell everyone, listen, when you got things in your spirit, your heart space, your solar plexus, or whatever in this realm, and it's coming to you, that means you can manifest it. That means it's supposed to happen. The reason it doesn't happen for some of us is because we suppress it, we ignore it. But I was still receptive and open to Tulum. I just didn't know when. Here we go. We're having this talk. I'll be in Tulum in a few weeks. I'll be in Tulum.
Thank you for answering the call. Thank you for being part of the revolution. Thank you for being part of the revolution.
So that's part of getting right within. I had to get right within to hear the call, to push it out, for you to actually materialize the growth retreat, to have it, and all I got to do is show up and give the medicine and be present. So I don't know if you want to call that serendipity, coincidence. Nothing is a coincidence. Everything is happening as it should, and divine timing, right? With the right sources, with the right people. And when I was in Peru, I got the call that I must help the Black race. Black race is the human race. It's not color, it's vibranium. Here we go. This is my first initiation activation to tap into the men. That's how it works. So that's part of the integration. And here we are again. So I just want to honor you in this space for creating something from pure consciousness to trust, to believe, to know it's showtime is go time.
Mm.
Your time is our time. Community. I said this morning on a live. We must be in service of one another. Competition is toxic. Competition is of dark and different entities. That's not of abundance and co-creation. We're not supposed to compete.
No.
We're supposed to collaborate. We're supposed to communicate. We're supposed to be in a community. Other people outside of our genre and race of people, they work together. They don't go against each other. This is why they scale. We have a tendency of going opposite ways for whatever reason because we've been confused and told a lie that doesn't serve our truth because we haven't got right within. I think you got to have that song, Lauryn Hill.
How you gonna win if you can't get right within?
Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a beautiful journey to see you take the steps, the ordered steps, the intentional steps to do the work, to become the work, to give the work, to grow the work, to now have it on a platter and platform that people can have it and absorb it for their own integration, for their own celebration, for their own evolution, so they can be right within through the medicine that got you right within. And this is what it's about. And this is how we merge the spirit and we make it clear by helping each other and growing together and pushing this out. And the thing is, grow is my favorite word. I love growing.
Hey.
You know, like that's all my life been about, Mac, is to grow. Spiritual
addicted to the growth.
Yeah, because
we ain't growing, we ain't showing.
Won't let me not grow.
Right.
So I must grow. So it's just a beautiful, man. Sometimes we don't even know what's at play or what's at work. But when you're in alignment, the right assignments find you. And you don't have to question what they are. You just know they're for you. You answer the call and you jump right in the vehicle and you get right where you need to go so you can help yourself and others grow. And this is why everyone, especially men, women, if you got a man that's going through something, he's suffering, click the link. I'll put everything in the show notes and join the retreat. I will be there. Yes, I will be there and I will be present. I will be giving my medicine and my method and speaking from my highest, most complete self, my vulnerable self, because it's great to have a woman in your life, but you need men in your life that's going to hold you accountable from the right paradigm. Right? From the right space, from a loving space, not from I'm gonna show you because you don't know. No, I'm gonna love you. Let me know how you feeling. And I think that's what you do well is that you bring that agape love that men need. Even how you communicate. You're communicating from unconditional love. You're not judging, you're observing. And you're making us aware of what we need to look at. Because like you said, how do we have all this jewelry? Why do we want so much attention? Why do we want to be seen? Like, what is that about? I know men that need this, you know, but they're so afraid of what they don't know. But that's why they need to go and be in Mexico with us. Seriously, man. Like because you know, you've done the ayahuasca. I've done some plant medicine, and I'm not saying that's what it is about, but the medicine of Tulum, other indigenous people, is going to change. Even the story or the exercise you do in the ocean. If people did that every day, their life would change.
Bro, just the gesture of leaving where you're from to getting here on this land.
Yeah.
Is the medicine. That's the first dosage.
Yeah.
Just remove yourself from an environment that's been toxic. So you go from toxicity to being the tonic.
It's important. So it's going to be incredulous. It's going to be phenomenal. I'm happy. I'm excited. There will be more information and insights about this. By the way, click the link. It will be in the show notes. We'll be having it moving through social media. My promo code to get 10% off your package for the retreat is Miracle Grow, GRW10 to get 10%. Follow Mac on Instagram. Your handle's still the same at Coach Get right?
Coach Get Right, that's right.
Mm-hmm. And what's the website that they can go to?
So the website is getrightwithin.co. That's getrightwithin.co.
Yes. So go to the website, click the link, get your ticket, and meet us there.
Every man needs to know that everything that he didn't receive, he can give to them himself with love.
Become men with love, not fear. And I think a lot of fear has been put in us to become men. And that's why when men become men, they don't know how to sustain it. So they go into their little boy phase. So
Right.
this was great. This was fun. Is there anything else you want to share with the listeners on here today? Is there anything that comes to mind? Any quote, any message, any methods? Get right. Get the retreat. Talk to us, Matt.
I'm just grateful to serve, man. I had my last Afrobeat aerobics class here in Tulum for the year because I'll be also doing some work traveling to Africa and deepening my roots, man. I'm just grateful, man. I want to be a messenger. I want people to feel comfortable, around me. I want people to ask questions. I want people to grow. And that's all. If you're not growing, then you're dying. It's the harsh truth. Need you guys to grow.
The really interesting thing about a man, if you ain't grown, if you're not grown, you hold no weight in the world. You hold no weight in society. You must have value in you. Because if not, no one cares about you. And
that's what they say. If you ain't useful,
right, that men go through, that no one talks about.
Right. If you ain't useful, you're useless.
Yeah. So, men, everyone listening, watching, share this. Follow Matt, Coach Get Right on Instagram. Click the link, getrightwithin.co. Get the promo code Miracle Grow, GRW10. Get 10% off for your time in Tulum. We'll be there August 14th to the 19th. Then you said what, the 20?
Yeah, the second session will be the 22nd to the 26th.
Got it. So
we'll be wrapping up.
We'll be there. Other than that, Mac, you're amazing. You're phenomenal, brother. Thank you for the medicine.
I love you, man.
The universe. I love you too. And this was great. By the way, shouts out to Simplify Impact, who does all my marketing and mentioning on YouTube and social media. And don't forget to get your Miracle Season merch, miracleseason.co. It's miracleseason.co. Get you 50% off. Promo code Miracle M Season, all caps. Other than that, Spiritual Fitness Podcast, we out. Coach, get right. Follow him. Peace and love.
Love you, brother.
Yes, sir.